Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high-level game of StarCraft 2 with in the top left spawning as our red Zerg player playing for Team Alpha X. It is Ragnarok. In the bottom right as our blue Terran player playing for Kai Z Gaming, the player formerly known as Time. It is Oliveira. Game recently played in the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice World Championship. We have an SCV scout coming out of Oliveira over here. At the same time, Ragnarok opening up with a very standard hatchery first on Gresvan. Gresvan, one of the maps which initially I think a lot of people looked at this map and they looked at how it could potentially play out. And you see bases pretty far apart, lots of bases as well. Some neutral bases, it's the top over here, the bottom over here. And most people concluded that this most likely is going to be a Zerg favored map. But as more and more games got played on this particular map, I think a lot of Terrans and Zergs players started to realize that this is actually quite okay for Terrans in the longer game. And the main reason for that, or one of the reasons for that, is this kind of high ground where tanks can be placed to help defend this general area. Well, I guess if we're playing Terran, I guess I should say this high ground. The ability that after you take a 4th base forward to basically take a 5th and a 6th base for free. So 6 bases for the Terran player. And then the hardest thing to do is to take this as your 7. But once you have that, it feels like a very, very good late game map for Terran. Now, there is one more thing we should be paying attention to, and that is something that Ragnarok already is paying attention to. The Reaper jump up spot in towards the natural, which the Reaper can utilize to try and scout with. Did this bad boy take out a creep tumor already, or has a creep tumor not been used yet? No. Instead we see a creep tumor going down in the main base right now, and nothing yet quite in the natural. Interesting stuff. Would love to see a creep tumor go down here, but Ragnarok not feeling confident enough. Okay, here we go. Grenade's gonna get used, and this should be a dead creep tumor. No, Reaper gets pushed away, creep tumor stays alive. Pretty big deal here, as Ragnarok's 3rd base finishes up at about the same time as well. What else do we have? I have a 3rd CC for Oliveira, moving into a quick Banshee as well. So Banshee into, Hellions into Banshee. See a couple of Marines coming out, CC finished up. Making sure he isn't supply block no more. Reaper still trying to deal some damage, but as Metabolic Boost is about to finish up, this Reaper will be forced to go back home. Depot will start in the natural here for Oliveira. And I'm personally looking forward to what our Terran player is going to be doing this game. 6 Hellions, Banshees coming out. We have this barracks that is currently not producing, but surely a tech lab will start shortly from here on out. Oliveira known to be a bio player more so than anything else. Not a huge fan of these mech builds. Despite in the new patch them being a little bit stronger. We've seen Cyclone Banshee being quite powerful. Double gases being taken in the natural right now. That's 2 gases are already done. Overlord got sniped. And that means that there's not going to be any more info here for Ragnarok, who didn't quite scout the tech lab and the upgrade that was researching on that tech lab. So Oliveira continues his Hellion production, goes all the way onto 10. Wait, this is actually going to be... Okay, this is going to be mech. So a little bit of mech here from Oliveira. Double factories coming down, faking a tech lab here on that barrack. Should actually kind of convince Ragnarok here that this might actually be something interesting. I should have already been capable of figuring it out, as it was 4 gas before barracks 2 and 3, which is a really weird thing. Luckily for Oliveira, Ragnarok has not quite been capable of getting that scout in. The first 2 Banshees are out at this point and make their way across the map. Hyperflight Motor Rotors is on the way, which will increase the speed of the Banshee. It's been one of those upgrades that has been slightly buffed in the newest patch. And here come the cars, looking for kills. So far just getting creep tumors. 2 Banshees make their way in towards the main base, and that's a 1, and that's a 2, and that's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Lots of workers actually being taken out here. 6 drones go down as well. Pretty decent start here for our Terran player. Extractor in a bit of trouble as it starts taking a significant beating here from these. Whoa! I think it's the first time I've seen an Extractor actually being killed by 2 Banshees. frustrating, especially because Ragnarok is opting to go for a Spire. Banshees make their way towards the top side of the map where there's nothing quite yet. More creep tumors are being planted down. So we have a lot of Lings in production at this moment. 9 Queens are out already with 2 more on the way and another bunch of drones in production. Fort base has finished for Ragnarok with Oliveira in a small supply lead, building double Thors. Rather than going into higher Cyclone counts, just straight up going for the Thor. So probably expecting a Mutalisk switch here, which could be incoming. Has the Spire been spotted? Yes, is the answer. So double Thors are going to be the initial response here. Lots of Lings going down and only 3 SCVs falling, as the first 8 Mutas indeed are on the way. Triple turrets as well coming out right now. And I think Oliveira is going to be in a fantastic spot here to continue into a very stable Mech Terran mid-game. Couple more Lings trying to give their life for the Swarm to get a little bit of scouting information. We'll be taking out SCVs here. And that's a 1. And it's gonna stay with a 1. A lot of these trades so far felt like they were good for Oliveira. Worker count is okay for Ragnarok. As for Banshees make their way towards the top side of the map. +1 vehicle weapons, about halfway done here. As the Mutas are flying in, will take out one of these mines. But no, actually, mines stay alive. 1 Muta is going to fall first. That's going to be the first real victim for Banshees on the way, killing more creep tumors after denying the 5th base as well. Huge fan of this personally. Of course, should be very careful here against the Mutas. Might want to split up. Is indeed what we're gonna see. Oh my god, what is... Holy crap, this was a terrible split. Actually ends up losing 3 out of the 4 Banshees. That's a pretty big deal. Hellions meanwhile going in. Mutas out of position. 10 drones end up falling. 13 drones and every single Ling goes down as well. Once again, a pretty decent trade here for Oliveira, especially if it can keep those Hellions alive. Is that going to be the case, though, is the question that I have right now, as 3 more Thors are in production. That means we're not going to be seeing any Cyclones so far in this game, which is a unit that I wouldn't have minded having a couple of, just to help against the Mutalisk, you know, kind of chasing them around. But, wow, more and more Mutas coming out of Ragnarok here. Mutalisk is usually not quite listed as the counter to the Thor. Especially if there's more than 2 Thors out, and Mutalisk kind of tend to fall off. We'll have to wait and see what these Mutas are going to be actually capable of. Changelings moving in towards the 3rd base time. Oliveira not really paying attention to it. These Changelings are going to provide a lot of valuable information on the positioning of the Thors. Splash damage on these Mutas is going to kill 2 Mutas here. As the Fort base is moving into position. Is that a Banshee? Yes, that was a Banshee indeed. 9 kills already on this bad boy. 1-1 finishing up right now. Or these +1 melee is finishing up. Carapace getting pretty close too. Fort base can head over right now once again. Wouldn't mind seeing 1 or 2 medevacts being constructed here. Just to kind of help with picking up these Thors, moving them in towards the main base, defending these turrets, defending the production in the main as well is going to be very valuable. 1 mine gets taken out, 1 mine gets a shot and then gets taken out. But so far, overall units lost is very favorable for our Terran player. This Thor is in position, ready to shoot once more, and another Muta goes down. Ragnarok playing a sloppy game so far, but it is a game in which he is ahead, and perhaps that's really the only thing that matters. Mutalisk once again falling for a single Widowmine snipe. These trades have been weird and kind of frustrating if you're a Ragnarok fan, but I think his goal here is to actually transition into some type of Hydra Ling Bane, and the Mutas were more of a bait than anything. Forcing the opponent into Thors and then saying, hey, I'm gonna build units that are good against Thors. Although I'm not sure if Ling Bane Hydra is actually that great against Thors, now that I said that. Thor count is at 7. Almost no tanks are around. First medevac is out, which is definitely going to help dealing with potential Mutalisk run-bys or attacks into the main, natural, 3rd, 4th, wherever they end up going. Another sensor tower perhaps could be a valuable investment here for Oliveira to kind of capture that top side of the map with the vision. Turret's gonna get taken out, and here come a lot of Lings and Banes. There's nothing really to protect these tanks. Here comes the medevac. 2 tanks do get saved. We have another siege up here in the far back as a couple of Banelings get sniped here. More tank siege up, and Ragnarok is going to be the 3rd from moving further in towards his 3rd base. Triple Vipers coming out, Greater Spire on the way, as well as more and more inject are going to force more larvae out of these hatcheries. Well, the larvae are out already, 34 larvae. That means that remaxes are going to be pretty swift here out of our Zerg player. Ragnarok just idling with his Mutalisk, is aware that a couple new turrets are in production. This planetary is going to get taken out most likely. Yep, there we go. A lot of Binglings dying though. Look at that supply count just falling. 17 new Hydras, 30 new Lings on the way. 5th base will be set up. It's going to turn into a planetary. A new command center gets constructed on location here on the 4th. And Oliveira believing that he has a bit of a counterattack in him. I'm not so sure if I agree with this assessment. The store will take care of these mutas. A couple of SCVs will die. The tank count is extraordinarily low here. We're only on 6 tanks. This is on creep. Ragnarok does have Vipers. So there's a lot of potential to just straight up kill this army. Where are the Vipers though? They're all in the main base. Queen's not really in this fight either. One of these hatcheries is starting to fall a lot lower. So far not worrying Ragnarok all that much, as he was very patient here. 2 Blinding Clouds, 3 Blinding Clouds, and they're fantastic. Lots of Thors can't attack. Half of the tanks not doing anything either. Trade is going to be somewhat even, maybe even favorable here for Oliveira still, but is going to get pushed back. 7 drones die. Base gets taken out, but the tank count pretty much reset as well, and all Thors taken out. On top of that, Vipers have died during this little skirmish, and that is frustrating, as Vipers are really, really expensive. Take a while to build, and on top of that, you also need to get that energy from the hatchery once again to kind of get them ready for the incoming fight. 4th base has been built here for Oliveira, as I mentioned before, on location, and is once again morphing into a planetary. Sadly for Oliveira, no extra orbital commands or command center, so a 6th base is still going to be difficult to set up, and maybe wants to actually focus on getting a couple of extra command centers out before moving into that type of play. Is there blue flame on those Hellions? Yes, there is, but it's not going to be enough as the Lynx and Spines clean it up. These 2 bad boys will still try to deal some damage against the Lynx on the top side, but these Hellions also will end up falling most likely. Vehicle plating level 2 just finished up as +3 vehicle weapons. Is about 85% done at this point, and very, very close to that, to being researched. 9 Corruptors on the way. Do we have any upgrades on those Corruptors? We have +1 air weapons, but that is it. We have nothing else over here. Does feel like a Broodlord push is imminent. There's 4 Thors and 4 Ghosts. So make of that what you will. I'm not entirely sure what that actually is going to mean here. Does that mean that a Broodlord push can be successful? I don't think so. I think Thor count is simply too high. 7 Broodlords being morphed here. However, if Oliveira gets caught in the middle of the map and loses some Thors and Ghost pre-fight, it could be bad. Then again, what is he gonna lose to? Both players had a very high worker count, and I think Oliveira specifically wants to start adding more and more command centers in the near future. Cheeky scan here could do wonders as well for denying creep threat. Indeed, we're seeing a couple of creep tumors being taken out. Ghost moving forward right now. Should perhaps consider snipes. Yep, there we go. Snipe, 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 says the Ghost. As a bunch of these queens end up falling. And a lot of creep tumors also get blasted here. Queens, of course, very valuable when building Broodlords and Vipers. New command center is on the way. That's going to be base 7. Or perhaps just an added orbital or extra planetary for some defense of that general area. The Thor's now moving in. Looking for an angle, not quite getting it. At least not yet. Good micro here with these Broodlords. This is such a nasty area to defend as a Terran player. Look at this. It's attacking into that planetary. Tank still sieged. Actually dealing a lot of splash damage on his own SCVs, his own planetary. Ghost coming from the side. Snipe, snipe, snipe. 1 Broodlord goes down. Thors try to turn around. Also dealing damage. Is not quite going to be working out. The tank fire on the Queens are going to force a couple of transfuses out of Ragnarok. Still has a decent bank, has good supply as well, and with the majority of the Broodlords alive. So far only 2 Broodlords have gone down, and a planetary has been killed as well as 16 workers. Oliveira's bank is running out, and still looking for an angle. Oh, here we go, to get some damage with these Ghosts in. Vipers get EMP'd, but the snipes do not quite connect as Vipers move out of the least range of that snipe ability, which has recently been decreased. Brute Lords once again finding a little bit of damage. There goes the tank, and there most likely go the sensor towers as well as the turret. Banelings, ooh! Actually thought that these Banelings were gonna end up connecting with this command center, as I don't think that would have necessarily been a bad call, looking for a kill on a planetary, but Ragnarok actually getting lucky there, as he would have found out that that command center could have actually just lifted and would have lost him some Banelings, so accidentally making the correct call there. Wouldn't have minded if he would have gone in there with Banelings. I thought, you know, it's a reasonable call at least. He had no info of the situation up there, so yeah. Ignorance actually being good for once here in StarCraft 2. Baneling count continues growing, by the way. Going up, what is this? Excuse me, 80 Banelings? That is a very large Baneling count. And the funny thing is that the drone count also is rather large. The rest of the army is Brute Lord Hydra, which isn't known to be a fantastic composition usually. Really feels like Ragnarok is aiming for a single fight here that just needs to completely destroy his opponent, and I'm afraid that Oliveira might be giving that fight to his opponent here by moving towards the middle of the map, realizes it's still on creep, and basically immediately goes back home. Planetary over here is being pooped on by that creep, completely covered in it. And here we go, another good spread out. Neural Parasite halfway done. Do we have any infestors at all? The answer is no. Where are the Vipers just idling in dead space right now? A couple of abducts could change this fight. Blinding Clouds could as well. Here comes the scan, and these Vipers are going to move into vision right now and into the crosshair of the Ghost and the THORS. Oh, that's a nice pre-split here coming out of Oliveira. Still seeing so many of these Banes. Must be somewhat scary. This is not the ideal angle that he probably wants to fight in. A bunch of Brood Lords are going down against the THORS, but beautiful Blinding Clouds dealing with those THORS as well. The Banelings continue rolling, and eventually connecting with the Ghost. The bank for Ragnarok, and the Larva bank more importantly, is extremely large. Has 80 links and 3 Hydras are being produced here right now. Getting Ragnarok up to very decent supply right at this moment. Snipes being cancelled due to the attacks of these Hydras, and I don't think these Ghosts are quite going to cut it. Both of them get taken out, and any unit that ever could have done anything here for Oliveira is off the map right now. Needs to be rebuilt. 2 Ghosts do pop out, 7 Hellions on the way, 4 more THORS as well. But the issue isn't going to be the Broodlord. The issue is going to be those 32 Banes that are morphing, and those 50, 60 links that are going to be out in a couple of seconds from now. I think Ragnarok is absolutely destroying his opponent here. Oliveira never really getting to that super late game stage. Was fighting, I think, perhaps with a slightly too high of a worker count. Thought he could take it with the Thor Ghost, but the positioning in these chokes just not quite being good enough and completely getting wiped here. Planetary getting taken out on the top side. Hellions moving forward, can potentially deal with some of these Lynx and Hydras, but I don't think this army is actually large enough. Tanks trying to help out. Decent splits on these Thors. Ghosts are going to catch a little bit of the collateral damage when the Banelings explode on the Thors, but yeah, this game is pretty much over. 50 workers down the drain. The Hydra pushes away this command center. And I mean, the army pretty much says it all, right? We have 5 tanks, 3 Ghosts, 4 Thors, and that's going to be it. The income right now, 600-700 minerals a minute. That means we're gonna see, what, 2.5 tank or 2 Thors, basically. And add 1 or 2 Hellions there. That's all the money that you're gonna get in a minute. Orbital count is still only on 5. It's not as low as I thought it was, but still too low to truly make a comeback here. As Ragnarok once again pretty much just signing up for another big attack here. It's like, alright, I lost, what is it, 386 links, 126 Banelings. Let's see what I can do with another 20 to 30 Banes, and I think I can do a whole lot with another 20 to 30 Banes. There's not enough splash damage. Oh, there's a lot of infestors here, actually. That means that these Thors could be in a little bit of trouble. Neural Parasite is available as well, and here we go. Neural Parasite on the Thors. Neural Parasite on, well, not the tanks. It's not even necessary. There's not enough units left here for Oliveira as the final base. Well, not the final base, but The final base that's going to get killed will get taken out. Oliveira taps out and Ragnarok wins the game with some beautiful Infestor play here in the end. After pretty much getting blind countered while playing Mutas, or hard countered while playing Mutas, and not really dealing any damage there whatsoever, the switch into Hydra Bane being sufficient to deal with Oliveira's mech composition. That is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks so much, and bye-bye.